So I have a few slides here which I'm going to go through in the next few minutes, and I'm very excited to be actually part of the panel where we can go talk about it in more details. So a lot of this I think got discussed earlier in the day today, so I won't spend too much time on this slide. But I think the situation on the left is pretty well known today, where we stand and where we come from. But I think tomorrow is much more exciting. There are so many possibilities for this industry to create new revenue streams, new business models, and really help propel the vision of Digital India further. I think this industry is a foundational platform for the Digital India. And we have a big role to play, and we need to make sure that our platforms are going to be ready to support that. And that, what does that mean in terms of the challenges for the networks? So we will have to connect billions of devices. We will have to do this at a fraction of the cost that we do today. The amount of traffic is just I think even today, by today's standards, is still unimaginable what is going to come at us. And I think the requirement is that a lot of the real-time services are going to run on our networks, which means everything we do in our networks need to support the real-time, which means our networks need to be real-time configurable, real-time scalable, zero downtimes, no more taking the network down for upgrades. So that's the world we have to live in. Of course, the networks are going to have to be elastic, so we can actually scale up and down as per the application demand, as per the user demand. We will have to learn to monetize our networks on a real-time basis, which means use the elasticity of the networks to sell that capability or capacity at that moment in time, depending on the abundance it has. Right? And then, of course, the security of the network is very, very critical. When the whole society's critical industries run on your network, then you need to make sure that it is a very secure network that you're providing. And it's a very agile network that you're providing. So what does all of this thing, what do all these things mean to us as a business? Well, I think not everything can be done by a telco operator all on his own. We will need to build smarter business alliances. We will need to learn to work with a variety of partners across industries, within the industry, to make sure that we are delivering a joint objective. The cloudification of the network, for the lack of a better word, I use the word cloudification. I don't think such a word exists in English, but I think cloudification is going to be a very, very important aspect in the way we build our networks. The traditional separation we used to see between IT and the networks is just disappearing. Today, my network estate looks so similar to IT estate that it is hard to actually tell apart. Now, when we get into this cloudification, which is going to happen across all the different parts of the network, the separation between network and IT, I think, starts to disappear. The same thing is happening on the IT side. So how we manage these things, where we actually segregate the hardware from the applications running on the top, and then those two things are managed separately, I think is a very important challenge for us as a technologist. I think we will need to develop cross-industry partnerships to develop the use cases, to create new models for monetization. And that means talking to the kind of people that traditionally us as technologists haven't spoken to. I think that means going and speaking to the CIOs of our customers, speaking to perhaps the procurement officers of our customers, the back end, talking to the R&D departments much more closely with the people who supply our technologies, maybe dealing with system integrators much more in our network. If you're going to have a true separation between hardware and the application, then the system integration becomes a big part of that challenge. Then, of course, skills development. This is new for all of us. This is new for all of my guys. It's new for pretty much everybody I speak to. And that requires a completely new way of thinking about the problem and the new way of approaching the problem. And that skill development will happen partially through retraining of existing resources and partially by just bringing in more younger blood for whom a lot of these things are much more natural. So those are all the challenges that we have in the way we go about building our networks. Specifically, what are we doing in Vodafone about these challenges on a day-to-day basis? So I put up a slide here. There's been some discussion around 5G here earlier today. So as Vodafone and Idea networks integrate and merge, our strategy is very clear. We put in the latest gen technology to make sure that all our investments are future-proof, are gonna let us jump to the next generation technology when we choose as a business. They should also deliver a lot of the benefits which are coming with the next gen technology in terms of latencies, in terms of the administration, in terms of the flexibility and the security. And that is demonstrated by some of the choices we are already making. So today, our intent is to have a very large scale deployment of massive MIMO. We believe it will be the largest in the world outside China on a 4G network. Now, massive MIMO is really a 5G technology. We are putting it in as part of the 4G deployment. We will also have an extensive use of things like HETNET networks, which is again a concept very common within the 5G network. We are implementing it in our networks today. About 46% of my capacity in the core, the packet core, is already on a cloud, and it is rapidly changing. And I am using the word cloud here, not NFV, or not virtualization, because virtualization really is yesterday's technology. We want cloud native technologies based on containers, Kubernetes, that we can easily transport across platforms. And that's what we are building in terms of our networks today. All of our VoLTE, IMS platforms, we're trying to put them onto the version, generation 3.0 cloud. And we are moving at this adoption of this next-gen technology very, very aggressively, very rapidly, for several reasons. Number one, it brings a lot of the benefits in terms of the lower cost per byte. It also improves the quality and the network experience by reducing latencies. And it will also help build an estate that's going to be much more scalable and elastic and agile than the traditional telco estate that's been out there. So that's what we are doing in VIL, and look forward to talking more about it in the session. Thank you.